So, Mojang are yet to actually give this new update a name. I'm curious, what would you call update 1.20? Because to me, it's honestly a mapmaker's dream more than anything else. I know they've added a ton of features for exploring and adventure, but the amount of stuff they've added to the back end of Minecraft for map makers or anyone who loves to play with command blocks is just ridiculous. I mean, you've probably seen this one, the new damage command, and it is by far the most useful command in the game now, especially for map making. So you can assign any amount of damage, but more importantly, you can actually assign a damage type. So you can pick from stuff like generic, basic damage, or you could do like magic, lightning bolts. And this is really important because what it allows you to do is, well, that'd be good if my guinea pig. Oh, there we go. Well, unfortunately he was there, but I guess we can use me. So, the damage command. We'll hop into survival and we'll go over why it's so important that you can actually define the damage types. And now we can inflict damage. So for instance, damage us, and so 10 is half our HP, so this is 5 hearts, and we'll do generic. That's probably the easiest thing to show off. Yeah, so it did 5 hearts. That's great. What about if I had some armor though? So that's where the real utility of this command comes in. It's the fact that when you assign the different damage types, it actually uses their calculations. So for instance, if we have full netherite now, and we go back to survival, and this time we'll do 5 hearts again, we have 8, so it should put us down to 3. Which of course it does, because we did generic. But what if I were to change this to say mob attack? Right now, what do you think? It should finish me off, right? Just to play it safe, we'll set it to 6. So this would perfectly delete us. But it only does half a heart. And the reason for that is because we've now assigned it as if a mob was attacking us. And of course, if a mob attacks us and we have armor, we take less damage. So we have damage that now cuts through and deals full amount, so generic or magic, or we can assign different things to actually allow us to play around and give the player a way to defensively reduce damage. And I gotta say, if this command was around before I started my map, the stuff I could have done. Because you could make a magic system that deals, you know, like a D&D style, X type of damage. And if you have armor, it does something a bit less. If you have potion effects, it does something less. Because that's another thing. It's all interactable. If we give ourselves resistance, not regeneration. Well, actually, I need a little bit of that too. Sure, infinite, and we'll do 3. So this is resistance 4, which should be a 80% damage reduction. So for instance, if we were to use the damage command again on us, and this time we will do our full 20 hearts damage, but we will pick, what shall we pick? Suffocation damage. Is it prevented by resistance? Who knows? I'm not gonna try. Mob attack is probably the easiest one to stick with. I think magic is reduced. Yeah, so magic is reduced, but it's not reduced by armor. So these interactions make this command so customizable and so useful for different command things. But I did say this was the map maker's dream, so it's not just about the command. Of course, we have, you know, the new armor sets, and that in itself is a huge system that can now be taken advantage by map makers. So for instance, if I were to trim some armor, just like so, we now have some netherite chest plates with ward and redstone. And why this is so useful is if I use the data command and we get this data, so entity at E, type equals item, or sort it to the nearest and limit it to 1 to make the command actually function. So we grab its data. This is what's really important, this trim slot. So it has a few things. For one, we can detect if just trim is available, if a material has been picked, and if a pattern has been picked. So you've probably seen tons of videos on the ridiculous amounts of armor combination. But now, in an adventure map, someone can actually come up with a specific set of armor. So depending on the actual material and the different pattern. And that set of 4 can now be used to provide X effect to a player. This means that the amount of different armor combinations there are is now directly relatable to the amount of different features you can create just from this aspect. Isn't that just insane to think about? But wait, there's more. Now, as much as I hate archaeology and the ridiculous amount of time it takes to brush a piece of sand for hardly any payoff, it does have one great utility. So we can obviously use either the new scoreboard that's related to it. So scoreboard, objectives, add, instead of dummy, we are now looking for Minecraft. And then if we find the correct objective that corresponds to brushing sand, because I assume it is tracked, we can now use that to detect whenever a player brushes something and completes it, or just is brushing in general, and reward them. Meaning I could use command blocks to make brushing blue eyes reward the player with something. I could make it after a set amount of time that's probably quicker than suspicious sand, delete the block, and give them something. So this makes the brush now interactable with every item in the game if you just set up a string of commands. So that's the whole point I'm trying to get across, is this update is crap. Honestly. Like, the features all feel half-assed. They're not fleshed out. But it leaves it open to a map maker to flesh these features out and create so many things just from their utility. And that's not even talking about the new marker blocks, the new interaction blocks. There's just tons of stuff that we can now utilize in-game. So not data packs and not mods, but in-game to create this new experience. It is definitely going to be a whole new time for maps once this update comes out. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.